So, it's come to this, a video about Hitler.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait for all the out-of-context clips people can get from this video that make me look like an absolute shitbird. So I'm probably not breaking much new ground on YouTube, or maybe I am when I say the words, fuck Hitler. But Waxwork Hitler probably doesn't deserve half the shit he's gotten over the years, because, well, he is just a dummy, albeit one modelled after the most evil and hated man in history. Madame Tussauds, for anyone who doesn't know, is a world-famous attraction that specialises in waxwork models of celebrities and famous historical figures. Due to the fact there are multiple Madame Tussauds locations around the world and not all celebrities are created equally, the quality of these figures tends to range somewhat from eerily lifelike to looking like the famous person they're based on had their skin scooped off their bones, which are then filled with raw meat and then laminated.
Have you been to Madame Tussauds?
I've never been to a Madame Tussauds. I'm not paying 30 fucking quid to go look at like some dead-eyed representation of my favourite celebrities.
I went to the one in Blackpool. I think the funniest thing there is there's just a huge Shrek.
Waxwork Shrek. Here are the Hall of Heroes. We have Abraham Lincoln, the freer of the slaves. We have Elvis Presley, the saviour of rock and roll. We have Shrek.
Oh, you were expecting Prince Charming?
It reminds me, we've mentioned it in other videos, so I'm not going to stop bringing it up. It reminds me, the Sense of Right Alliance. People need to fucking know about the Sense of Right Alliance. It's this shitty, like, Chinese knockoff, like, plastic figures of supposedly the Justice League. They call it the Sense of Right Alliance. And included amongst the heroes, such as Spider-Man and Superman, is just Shrek. As well as the car from Cars. If Madame Tussauds was like that, if I walked in and said, here's the Hall of Heroes, and you walk in, it's like, here's Charlemagne, here's Julius Caesar, here's his best mate Shrek. In addition to waxwork models of modern-day celebrities and famous fictional characters, most Madame Tussauds also have a section dedicated to displaying villains from history.
We should point out they're not in the same section of these celebrities.
Oh yeah, like the famous villain section isn't normally in the same section as like the rest of the waxwork models. So I'm guessing Nicki Minaj probably wouldn't appreciate her waxwork model being stood next to Vlad the Impaler or some shit like that. By far the most controversial waxwork figure Madame Tussauds own is one of noted shithead Adolf Hitler. And it's noted that from the first moment Waxwork Hitler was included in the Madame Tussauds Museum in London, it was vandalised so frequently that it eventually got its own security guard.
What year was this?
1936.
So before World War II.
Before World War II, yes. Obviously, the full extent of Hitler's shitheadness was not known to the majority of the world. So Hitler, his waxwork model at least, was stored alongside other politicians, and people didn't like this. And obviously, Madame Tussauds, as I mentioned then, hired a security guard whose sole job it was to watch over Waxwork Hitler. I don't know about you, Brad, but I'm going to guess that that security guard had a little trouble finding work after World War II. Imagine for a second he's applying for a job and the guy's reading through his CV and he's like, there's a gap here. What did you do between like 1936 and then 1938? Oh, I was working as a bodyguard. A what? A bodyguard. A bodyguard? Oh, that's... I don't... Who for? Anyone I'd know? Hitler. What? Adolf... No, not the... Oh, who? His waxwork double. Why did Hitler need a bodyguard? People kept attacking it. Well, obviously. And you stopped them, yeah. I think we've done it here. In 2002, Madame Tussauds in London caused further controversy when they moved Hitler from the Chamber of Horrors to the main hall and displayed him, without a hint of irony, next to Winston Churchill.
I guess it is a bit distasteful, but they are the two most prominent figures from World War II.
Yeah, and I can see it from that point of view. But Brad, here's the thing. Madame Tussauds caused a lot of controversy when it emerged that a lot of people were walking up to Waxwork Hitler and doing the Nazi salute.
Next to Hitler?
Next to Waxwork Hitler.
And in turn next to Churchill?
Yes. In front of children and other guests. I don't know about you, Brad, but there are only two situations I can think of off the top of my head where someone would ever perform a Nazi salute next to a physical representation of Adolf Hitler, and that is that they are one, a Nazi who believes Nazi ideology and wants to express their views in public, or two, they are some kind of like edgy shitlord trying to do it for a joke.
I'm assuming two swords put like a clamp down on
Oh, no. That's the smart thing to do, isn't it? When people are walking into your place of business and doing a big old Nazi salute next to a physical representation of the head of the Nazi party. Yeah, that would be the smart thing to do, Brad. Do you know what Madame Tussauds did? They told people, oh, it's fine, do a Nazi salute.
Oh, great.
But do so in a responsible manner. And yes, that is a direct quote. Oh, I'd just like to mention as well that Waxwork Hitler stood in the main hall while people were doing Nazi salutes next to him in full view of children and the public until 2016.
Well, talk about bad taste.
I should mention as well that prior to this date, multiple Madame Tussauds locations around the world also had waxwork models of Hitler, including the Madame Tussauds in Berlin.
That's not good.
Yeah, and it was, as you can imagine, greeted by a lot of controversy because people didn't take kindly to Adolf Hitler stood next to a bunch of historical figures like it wasn't a thing. The difference I should point out is that in Berlin, they didn't allow anyone to do Nazi salutes next to Hitler because doing a Nazi salute in Berlin and Germany as a whole is completely fucking illegal, and if you do that, you will be arrested on sight. So they didn't allow that. I would also like to mention as well that unlike the Madame Tussauds in London, where Adolf Hitler is shown stood in mid-speech, so he looks powerful and at the peak of health and fitness, the one in Berlin was specifically designed to make Hitler look as sad as possible. That's not a joke. Look at Waxwork Hitler in Berlin. That is one sad man. They did that on purpose.
It looks like his puppy's just died.
They did it. We did, didn't it? 'Cause it's not. Obviously, the one in Madame Tussauds in London showed him like mid-speech. Like, I'm not going to do the pose because I don't want that like thumbnail or screenshot floating around. But they had him like mid-speech, like giving like a rallying cry, like the peak of his fitness. The one in Berlin is him in the Führer bunker moments before he blew his own fucking brains out. So his dog actually had just died. I really respect Madame Tussauds in Berlin for like going down this route of like, we're going to show Hitler, but we're not going to show him at the peak of his power. We're going to show him moments before his own death as like an old, overweight, sad husk of a man. And I think every Madame Tussauds location in the world should do this. If you're going to show Hitler, you have to show him at a different point of his life where he's just absolutely sucking shit and getting dunked on by the world as a whole. I want to see one of like that time Hitler accidentally shit his pants. I want to see the one of him when he like fell down the stairs. I want to like walk in like, here's the Chamber of Horrors and here's Adolf Hitler, and it's just Adolf Hitler and that one time where his like belt loop got caught on a door handle. What they should do is they should find out actual moments from his life that were really painful and embarrassing for him, and then show those as realistically as possible. Like I said, I want them to scour historical records and find out, is there a time when Hitler ever shit his pants? Okay, let's recreate that. Do you know the one I want as well? I want the time that Hitler cried. Because this is a story that I'm not sure a lot of people know, but Hitler loved dogs. And after World War I, he had a pet dog that someone at a bus station stole from him. And Hitler cried when they stole this dog. And there's like a quote from Adolf Hitler that says, "The man who stole my dog doesn't know what he's done to me." And apparently, he was still angry about that like 20 years later. So I want that moment captured forever. I want the moment I realised someone stole his dog and was giving it belly rubs and treats without him.
He's just there with an empty collar.
Yeah, I want to see that, and I want to see just the broken look on his face as he realises, I will never be happy again. That's the version of Hitler I want in every museum in the world. All of this controversy came to a head, quite literally, in 2008 when a man bum-rushed the waxwork model of Hitler in Berlin's Madame Tussauds and knocked his fucking head off.
I found it! Without their heads, they're powerless!
Do you know what the best part about this story is, Brad?
What?
That guy got arrested. Which means that somewhere out there in Berlin is a guy who has an arrest record saying, knocked the head off Adolf Hitler. That guy didn't do it to protest Adolf Hitler's inclusion in Madame Tussauds alongside all those other historical figures. He did it for a bet. And I want to know how that bet came about, because that sounds like a legendary rager. That's like, how drunk do you have to get with your friends for like the idea that you bet each other to go and knock off Adolf Hitler's head becomes like a thing you actually seriously contemplate doing. I've been drunk a lot of times, but I've never once gone, mate, I bet tomorrow I'm going to go Madden 2 Swords. I'm just going to go elbow drop Hitler. So, I'm going to go Madden 2 Swords tomorrow, and I'm going to fucking Randy Savage elbow drop Shrek. So, no one's ever said that. This guy did. And you probably think like, oh, someone just knocked Hitler's head off. Maybe we should not have this thing on display because it's just not worth the hassle. No, Madden 2 Swords in Berlin spent a couple of $1,000 repairing it so it could continue being on display. Figures. Bro, this is going to be a weird question, but let's just say for a moment you're in charge of Madden 2 Swords. Where would you put Waxwork Hitler? Because obviously he's got to be on display, hasn't he? They have to have Adolf Hitler. If you've got Winston Churchill, you have to have Adolf Hitler. So where would you put him? Because if you've got to have him there, and you want to like cause as little controversy as possible, where would you put that model?
I reckon if there was like a cleaning cupboard halfway through, I'd leave the door slightly ajar and he'd be just lying on the floor in there. And you just put like a
Like
mop.
not even stood up, just lean into the side like that.
Just a mop lean on him.
And a pair of like marigolds over his shoulder and stuff like that. And like the hoovers next to him and it's plugged in through his legs. I just make sure I put him in like the bathroom or something and they've got like the urinal just attached to him here. Or something like that.
See you piss
Something super embarrassing. Like, or they put his head underneath the bit where you dry your hands so it very slowly melts so you can melt Hitler's face.
Yeah, but then they'd have to have like an entire department who just made Hitler heads all week.
Oh, that'd be quite scary, that one. Imagine walking into that room by accident. Or better yet, do you know the guy in Germany who knocked his head off? I'd auction off the right to do that. Like every couple of weeks, I'd repair it and I'd auction off, like, you have one swing at Waxwork Hitler with a baseball bat. And I guarantee you'd probably make more money doing that. It's like, we'll have him on display for a couple of weeks, and then, at the end of the month, we'll auction off the ability to just knock his fucking head off with a baseball bat. And then we'll repair it and put him back on, and on display for another month, and then someone else gets to do it. You can pay money to just go in and just beast on Hitler with any manner of weapon you choose.
I'm going to get ahead of the curve right now. I'm going to say, Karl, if there's ever a waxwork figure made of you,
okay,
what do you want people to do to it?
I'd want one like they had, I don't know which celebrity it was, but I know there was like some male celebrity where they gave him squeezable arse cheeks. So people walk up and pinch his arse. I want that but with the dong, so people can test if it's a small wood or not. And I'm going to give whoever makes the waxwork model free reign to make it as large or as small as they want to keep the mystery alive.
And change it every week.
Yeah, and I'm going to sneak in and keep changing the size of it so people can decide whether or not it really is that small or if it's just a name.
On the 25th of August, FactFin will be hosting a rock band karaoke event at the Meltdown Esports Bar in Sheffield. The event will be starting at 8 PM and entry is completely free. You can either play the guitar or you can sing, and we have over 600 songs for you to choose from. If you're interested in coming, mark the date down in your calendar and we hope to see you there.